Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, the expert in the room. In a recent Human Meme podcast, we discussed the difference between human experience and human expertise. And the feedback on that episode from listeners was fulfilling and fantastic. Thank you. And so I had several questions from listeners like you concerning the next step in the expertise contract of knowing, of into being, into proofing. And so we're going to give it a shot. Now, we all know what an expert means, and in the previous podcast episode, we discussed the memeing of expertise. So, let's take the matter to the next logical step and learn how important it is to identify the expert in the room. Many of us like to believe we are innumerable. We are the multi. We are the group. We are our everything. But wait. We are not all of that. And we get fooled by our own hubris. And we are fooled by the limits of our ego, all to our total dissatisfaction. Because we are too blinded by our own wants and demise to know any better. If, however, we were keen enough to place our ego in low gear, and then truly look to see those around us, especially in a meeting where people are invested in success, the group kind of success, or even the selfish kind of success. And if we were then able to discern, identify with grace and adaptability, and learn silently and covertly who in that room is the true and the real expert, then we will have information that is actually viable beyond the realm of the meeting walls. And I propose to you today that the real expert in that room is probably quiet and confident. The loudest people in the room are actually the people who don't know anything. They are loud to cover their deficiencies. So look for the person who appears hidden in plain sight. And draw out that person. Ask for insight. Pop in a question or two that cannot be answered with a yes or a no. And if you can do all of that quietly during breaks or in a break in the action, well, that's all the better for you. Because you will quickly know by asking the right question who knows and who doesn't know anything. And those who do not know tend to guess with great prejudice. And in their rising volume of that guessing prejudice, you know the lie has been put to the truth. And the real expert in the room is in no hurry to reveal who they are. And the leader of the meeting is not always that expert. The expert often asks the right question at just the right time. And that question is pre-designed to specifically solve the problem immediately and end the meeting. So be aware and sensitive to that sort of invisible power. You also need to notice who pays attention to that questioner, because they may have already secretly identified the expert, and they learned to be quiet and to take notes and to observe and to pay attention to what is being said. Watch who's watching and listening, and then you do the same. Many experts do not believe they are, in fact, experts. Remember, their ego is lost in the knowing, not in the need to know. And so you may be fooled, or they may fool you, not on purpose, but with humility in being and in stature. And you do not have to force anyone to be an expert. If you believe them to be an expert, more genius than you, then that's enough. You have found your person. You have identified their talent as being valuable to you. So now, how do you use that information that you've just collected? Well, you work on that knowledge by asking questions and listening to the answers. Pay attention to what is being said and shared. You know now what you need to know and what you do not already know. And there is great and deep value in that knowing, in that movement of spirit of your own, that you don't know and someone else knows more than you. There's an old saying that a 15-year-old kid knows everything, while the 50-year-old adult knows nothing. And when you share that saying with that teenager, they will readily agree with you. And when you share that saying with a person who has been alive for half a century, they will nod their head, knowing what they do not know. And so, my human meme friend, what if you are the expert in the room and you know it? And that can happen, and that is valuable. And if you know you are the expert, then willingly and willfully share what you know. There should be no secrets in solutions or in carving knowledge. If someone thinks you are an expert, well, don't disavow their truth, your genius. Don't hide, don't play coy. Happily accept their insight, because they will not likely make that remark. You may think others know more than you do, but if someone believes you know, based on evidence and observing and understanding, then allow that extra definition of you. Inform your own behavior. Enjoy your stature and your kindness. It means a lot to be called out, identified, and appreciated from both sides of that community dyad. So, the expert in the room is always there, knowing it or not. And the trick of life is being able to know that person without them necessarily knowing you know. And then you have the power to control a question, or to hold back, or to move forward that conversation by picking the right mind in the room in context to help everything propel into prosperity. And if you are unable to identify an expert in the room, don't default to the wrong thought that maybe, just maybe, you must then be the expert in the room because you're the only one left. It doesn't work that way. If you were the real expert, you wouldn't have to decide the expert was you. Read the room, know the people, find the one person sharing the same space as you who knows the right answer to all questions raised. And you will begin to know the real power of knowing what others may seek only to know without owning. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.